What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so this is something that I can't say for certain, right? And this is something I've been thinking for quite a number of years, just from observation, from having shopped at Walgreens, for having tried to be employed at Walgreens for many years, from horror stories from other people, and from reading statistics and news. This isn't something that I just made a rash decision on. This is something I've been thinking on and percolating on for quite some time. And that is, in my opinion, Walgreens shows a bias against blacks, in particular, black men. In particular, against black men. There are numerous Walgreens in the area in which I live. Numerous. Very, very few black men are hired by these Walgreens. The few times I've seen black men hired in these Walgreens is usually in a position of a janitor. That's it. But as far as store employees, stockers, the different departments, the pharmacy. Now look, I understand part of this is the educational issues. I get all of that. I understand some of that. I understand that. I understand that, black women tend to have more college degrees than black men, etc., etc. But it doesn't take a college degree to stock shelves. It doesn't. And when I was growing up as a kid in the 90s, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, there were plenty of young black men working in these establishments. But the numbers began to dwindle more and more and more and more over the years to the point where there's very few. And it's not even just my observations. It's the facts. They've had studies that suggest and show that Walgreens discriminate against black people. There have been lawsuits as recently as last year where a black man has accused Walgreens of racial bias and profiling. Now, this was a customer, I'm assuming, and he won that settlement. And that's another thing that I've had to deal with Walgreens is, and this is why I no longer really go there. Out of all the stores I've been to in the vicinity I live in, the Richmond, Virginia area, Walgreens is the main offender when it comes to racial profiling. No matter how many times I've gone to a certain establishment, they see the skin color before they see me, and they'll have the person constantly warning about I'm being monitored, security, don't try to steal, etc., etc. Then, I don't know how many times I've been to some of these stores, various stores in the area, and there's an employee following you, looking to see what you're doing, etc., etc. And at one point in time, I used to think, well, maybe I'm being paranoid, right? Maybe I'm being a little bit paranoid. But when I did further studies, when I looked up the fact that there have been research to show that they have a history of complaints about racism, it's not just in my head. It's a real thing. It's a real problem that they have. And, at the end of the day, look, I get it. for some odd reason, they're more inclined to hire black women. Maybe they figure like, okay, well, if we hire black men and black women, there's going to be perhaps, sexual harassment. Uh, there's going to be horseplay. Or maybe they don't like to, what I'm saying? Look, men generally are more ambitious than women. I'm not saying that about every woman. There are a lot of ambitious women. Not talking about everybody, but men tend to want to go up the ranks. So if you hire a lot of black men, eventually a few of them are going to want to go up the ranks. They're not going to just be there for a couple of months or a couple of years and move on. Some of them might see it as a career path. And ultimately, the higher you go up, the less of us you see. So, hey, how about we avoid all of this? How about we avoid people, accusing us of, racial profiling when it comes to the hiring process or when it comes to the promoting process, and we just don't hire them at all. But we'll hire black women to make up the quota. So they can't say we don't hire blacks. And I think that's what's going on. But at the end of the day, my eyes do not deceive me. There's a serious gap in these stores when it comes to black men versus black women. All right? So, I don't know. Is it possible that perhaps a lot of people don't want to do these types of jobs? Well, I don't think so. Because I go to Dollar General, and there are black male employees. I go to, Family Dollar. There'll be some black male employees. But for some reason with Walgreens, I don't see them. The few that I do see are part of the alphabets. You know what I'm saying? So they might not want to offend that community. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this, man. It's something I've noticed. I don't know whether you guys see it or not, but it's definitely something I've noticed over the past 15 years. It's gotten progressively worse over the past 20 years, but I've definitely been noticing over the past 15 years.